Oh, hello there. It is 11:30 at night UK time on the 17th of March, and I'm just seeing that Ubisoft are once again confusing criticism with harassment as they get an army of lawyers set aside for anybody who dare criticize any of their developers about the upcoming Assassin's Creed game, Shadows, which is got a main protagonist as a black dude, Shadows. Okay, work that one out very quickly in your heads, why don't you? And again, nothing says that you've got confidence in your product more than having an army of lawyers prepared for people that dare criticize your clearly wonderful and great game. Thursday can't come around soon enough for me. Chin chin. See you in the morning on the rest of the video. Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. It's a new day now. I've slept, but same mug, same cup of coffee. I'm only kidding, it's brand new. Come on now. Ubisoft had an absolutely dire 2024 and desperately need a win. And I'm not convinced Assassin's Creed Shadows is gonna be it. Sue him! Sue him into the ground! Sue Fraser! Ubisoft! Get them lawyers out! Sue him! Sue him! Excuse me. I may have slightly jumped the gun here. You see, Ubisoft have a new tactic apparently, which is going to prevent any criticism coming their way when it comes to the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is only in a couple of days' time on March the 20th. Coming from BFMTV.com, attendu pour les 20 mars, Assassin's Creed Shadows, pour tout l'espoir. It's probably best if I do this bit in English. Yeah. Assassin's Creed Shadows for Ubisoft, it's about coming out of the shadows. Okay. Or diving a little deeper into them. Now, this is translated from French to English, so some of it might be lost in translation and all that. But let's get to this paragraph here. An anti-harassment plan implemented to protect employees. Returning to rising sales and critical acclaim would be a welcome boost for the teams. Well, critical acclaim is meaningless. It's actually all about sales. We all know how partisan the mainstream media is and how they're bought and paid for access, etc. So what they actually need is just sales. Really good sales and good customer feedback. You can give all the awards under the sun to a video game. Let's just say The Last of Us Part 2, which received over 300 Game of the Year awards. It didn't stop it from being a pile of shit. Between anti-DEI movements that have continually attacked the game due to the presence of a black samurai, Japan as the setting for the opus, which has also sparked controversy with some Japanese people crying cultural betrayal. The criticism isn't because Yasuke is black per se. The person did exist, and yes, they were black. Were they a samurai? No. That's fabricated history which was made in an effort to push their DEI Marxism shite. The reason why there's a lot of criticism is because Yasuke was most likely the only black person in bloody Japan at that time. And with this being a feudal Japanese Assassin's Creed game, the vast majority of potential customers literally wanted a male Asian protagonist and a female Asian protagonist in their game. It wasn't rocket science, but this group of people thought that they were qualified enough to write a story, a historical, accurate story about a black samurai. If a picture could paint 1,000 words, this one would be the fucking Bible. And this little nugget is on Steam right now. Assassin's Creed Shadows Cultural Discovery Codex. Assassin's Creed Shadows, launching on March 20th, will continue the series tradition of bringing players closer to history, even if that history has been made up by Ubisoft or made up by other parties which have now been fired and expelled from Japan. Hello? As speaking. Oh, hello, WEF. How are you doing? Oh, you don't want me to bring in your employees into the... Oh, a little late for that now. Never mind. Bye. And it's the Japanese people themselves that are talking about cultural betrayal. And yet this group of Western developers decided, no, we're too good to listen to this country. We're better. We know better. Well, guess what? All of this opens you up to exceedingly valid and legitimate criticism. Just like the developers that did this are very much open for criticism. Ubisoft apologizes for using stolen flag in Assassin's Creed Shadows art. Oopsie doopsies. Ubisoft has apologized for using a real-life Japanese historical reenactment group's flag in some Assassin's Creed Shadows concept art without permission. On July 8th, Ubisoft apologized to the Sekigahara Teppo Tai for using their flag and promised to remove it from all game material possible. But what I don't understand, Ubisoft, is you've got this up on Steam right now. Remember this, Ubisoft? We literally just saw it a couple of moments ago. We will continue the series tradition of bringing players closer to history, but you can't even get history correct. So what gives you the right to think that you can compile a database on it? Your team were clearly cutting corners, being lazy, not doing their research correct, and this is very warranted criticism, not harassment, criticism. Don't conflate the two. But this is a company which seemingly has issues when it comes to boundaries, as 3 of its former managers are actually due in court in June of this year, charged with moral and sexy time harassment dating back to 2020. It's beginning to sound a lot like Blizzard. Sorry, don't know why that came into my head right now. Innocent until proven guilty and all that, though. Remember, this is the same company that wanted to make a quick buck selling some vinyl figures by having the female protagonist perched on top of a half-destroyed Tory gate. You know, very much like the half-destroyed Tory gate, which stands as a monument to the atomic bomb which hit the city in World War II. And this pissed off a lot of Japanese people. So what is it, Ubisoft? Did you just not care? Or did you just not do the research? Either way, you are open to exceedingly legitimate and valid criticism. This controversy led to that item actually being pulled and being redesigned, and this is now the new design on the Pure Arts website. The half-destroyed Tory gate is gone, and it's been replaced by some rock formations. Congratulations, Ubisoft. So let's get back to this article from the French website. The climate remains tense, especially for developers. Well, I would imagine so. They keep messing things up by the looks of it. To guard against any nauseating social media scenarios, a system has even been introduced to protect them. We're advised not to post on social media that we work at Ubisoft to avoid harassment, emphasizes one Ubisoft employee, recalling the numerous online attacks already suffered since the game's presentation. I don't know, if you are constantly being barraged by what you're classing as attacks, I imagine some of them are. I imagine the vast majority of them are actually criticism. Did you ever think to have some self-reflection to maybe look in the mirror and to say, do you know what? Maybe the problem isn't the whole of Japan. Maybe the problem isn't the vast majority of our customers. Maybe the problem might just be us. But you would never, ever admit that you were wrong, would you now, Ubisoft? That would just be stupid. You need to go to war with your customers, remember? An extreme and stressful situation that Ubisoft prefers to anticipate. An anti-online harassment plan was even presented to the CSE to accompany the game's release and protect employees. Quote, "It's an initiative from Canada." Oh, Commie Canada. "There's a team that monitors networks and acts quickly in the event of a targeted attack," explains an elected official. "Psychological and legal support is promised to employees who are targeted." Quote, "Unlike what we've had before, this is serious," he proclaims. Well, maybe because you're not giving customers what they've wanted. Maybe because you're not giving customers what they asked for. Maybe because you're not listening to customer feedback. Maybe because you're being pig-headed and you're pushing your ESG, DEI bollocks, which isn't historically accurate, just so you can pat yourselves on the back, smell your own fucking farts, and tell each other how goddamn amazing, stunning and brave, inclusive and diverse Ubisoft truly is. All you have to do is burn your company down in the process. Now, I just want to make it perfectly clear that these terms are absolutely acceptable to me. You can burn your company down all you want. It's no skin off my nose. We don't owe you anything. We don't owe you any loyalty. We don't owe you any sales. We don't owe you shit. If we don't like what we see, we can close our wallets and not give you anything whatsoever. And if you want to have a misfire game after a misfire game after a misfire game and your company falls because of it, so be it. Again, I don't care. The likelihood is a company will rise from the ashes and they will most likely learn from the mistakes that Ubisoft made, because they might be more interested in creating the art of video games, giving customers what they want, and earning a tidy profit in the process. Something Ubisoft hasn't been doing for a long time now.
I've been informed that they showed off Yasuke gameplay today in Assassin's Creed Shadows, and that when he fights, there is a hip-hop soundtrack only for him.
Not while I have breath in my lungs and a blade in my head. I said kill him.
Yeah, okay, so somebody at Ubisoft said, you know what? You know those black feudal Japanese people, they love themselves some of the hippity hop. Was that me? No. Was that you? No. Do you know who that was? That was a Ubisoft developer on Assassin's Creed Shadows that decided that that was a good thing. Yeah. We really are dealing with unbelievably tone-deaf people here. So once again, we return to the article. Thus, messages posted by internet users on X, Reddit, or even videos on YouTube will be closely monitored by a dedicated unit in order to respond quickly to the slightest problem. Lawyers are already ready to file complaints in the event of proven harassment. Yep, that's correct. Ubisoft want to sue people like myself for potentially criticizing the video game. The video game, which in its development cycle has been very open to a lot of criticism due to the behavior, due to the tone deafness, due to the ineptness of the staff so far. And of course, remember that this is a video game where Ubisoft themselves has said about half of the development team are making their very first game. Well, guess what? it shows. And if you think that you can bully people like myself into silence for fear of litigious behavior on your behalf, guess what? We've gone toe-to-toe with Sony, Muso, Naughty Dog, and they didn't do shit. And do you know what? Neither are you. You're not going to do shit apart from eat it. If your video game's good, I'm going to say that it's good. If your video game's mediocre, I'm going to say it's mediocre. And if your video game is crap, then I'm going to say why it's crap. And that is absolutely perfectly fine behavior. You might want to conflate criticism with harassment, but it's not. So you better get a backbone and you better get a spine, Buttercup, because it's a crazy world out there and it sounds like you're ill-prepared for it. Ubisoft now finds itself at a crossroads, and once again its future rests on the success of its flagship game. If Assassin's Creed Shadows is a success, the company will gain some breathing room. If it doesn't emerge from the shadows, it will drag the group into a much deeper crisis. Some dream of seeing the giant collapse. That would be devastating for its nearly 20,000 employees, but also for the video game industry, which really doesn't need that right now to lose its footing. Well, you see, the thing is, it's fine for the video game industry. It's just not good for the Western video game industry, an industry which seems hell-bent on self-destruction with its DEI, ESG practices, and the fact that its marketing invariably leans towards going to war with its customer base instead of appealing to its customer base, often preaching and lecturing and trying to present themselves as the moral arbiters, even though behind the scenes they are anything but, showing themselves to be disciples of Larry Fink and his forced behaviors at BlackRock. But no matter how many times they try to force behaviors onto people, it's rejected again and again and again. I just wish that I could force you to make a goddamn good video game for the first time in 12 years. I must confess that I am in no way, shape or form surprised by this behavior from Ubisoft and their attempt to bully people or frighten them into silence of being critical against their upcoming video game. After all, they do lack utter self-awareness and have displayed this over and over again. It's just not simply going to work on people like myself. I am going to be critical of this game if it's warranted, and so far the behavior has been very warranted. In a couple of days' time, my eye will turn to the critique of the video game itself, and as I previously mentioned, if I like it, I'll say so. If I don't like it, I will say so. And I will say so in whatever manner I choose fit to do. Good luck, Ubisoft. You are gonna need every single scrap of it, because every step along this path that you've taken with this game so far, you've displayed nothing but ignorance and stupidity and mismanagement at every turn. And if it does fail, and if it does crumble, and if your company falls because of it, you are the only people to blame, and I don't give a shit. I'll see you in the next video. You take care. Bye for now.